Hello, everyone out there. This is Brad Minton, Postsecondary Success Navigator with Wayne Risa. I hope all of you are having a fantastic week, and hopefully your fall is treating you really well. So I wanted to get into today's presentation and talk a little bit about preparing for a career fair. This time of the year, September, October, going into the fall, is really, really high activity for so many educational institutions, workforce agencies, and there's so many great events happening all over the county. And so, really, this particular presentation is designed just to get you ready, just to kind of understand a little bit. If you've never been to a career fair, it might seem a little bit overwhelming thinking about this image right in front of you. Being surrounded by a bunch of people that you don't know, it can seem a little bit intimidating. So hopefully I can kind of dispel a little bit of that, take a little bit of the pressure off, and give you some tools and resources to make the most out of the event for you. So just take a brief minute. What comes to your mind when you think of a career fair? If you're like me, or if you're like other introverts, probably there is a little bit of fear, a little of apprehension, a little worry, because so often it seems like we're supposed to be this really refined, packaged, neat presentation of ourselves. Like we're supposed to be something that we don't feel very complete in. And so for these career fairs, it can seem a little bit daunting trying to get that game plan going of how we're supposed to present ourselves. So there could be a lot of fear involved. For other people, it might actually come with a great deal of excitement. You might be like really, really eager to, get out there and see what's available, see the opportunities. And, you might fall anywhere in between that spectrum between terrified and super eager and excited. So no matter where you are, what I'm going to provide for you today can kind of give you a great starting point. So I want to first just kind of reflect a little bit on what is the purpose of the career fair to begin with. Well, it's an opportunity for you to interact with employers, to practice networking skills, which are so key to landing jobs, finding opportunities that you never knew existed. I know for me, even though I'm not looking for a job, I still actually like to go to job fairs just to find opportunities for some of the kids that I work with. And I'm always discovering things that I never knew existed. I'm always interacting with companies or organizations that I didn't know were there. And so it's an amazing opportunity for a young professional who's starting out and just kind of getting their bearings a little bit. You can also build professional relationships for the future by finding people of common interest and then fast tracking an application. So, you're bringing in copies of your resume, you can hand them to the people that could potentially make some decisions or lead to some decisions in the ability to bring you on as an intern or even as a professional hire. So I think it's such an awesome opportunity to streamline that, so you don't just apply online and get lost into the big black hole of applications. So what we're going to cover today is basically the 8 steps to have a great career fair or a very productive career fair. And this is really broken down into 3 key time phases: before, during, and after the fair. Number 1, step 1, before the fair even happens, is you really should take the time to research what you're getting into. Know where the fair is at, who will be there. Luckily, if you are on a college campus, and this is the beautiful thing about community colleges, even if you're not a student, even if you're not attending there, these are public events. So you can still go to them even if you're not a student. If it's run through a workforce agency like Michigan Works or SEMCA, these are open to the public as well. So oftentimes you can get a really good handle, through a phone call or an email to actually learn who will be attending and what industries they represent. Is it going to be a little bit more of a tech-based career fair? Is it going to be a little bit more healthcare? Is it going to be skilled trades? What is it going to look like? And so from here, you can look up the companies, start digging into their mission, their vision, any sort of potential opportunities that they are recruiting for. Now, this is the great thing about community colleges and universities is they typically have like an app or they have a platform like Handshake where they will let you know what they're actually there to recruit for. You can get information about company culture, and then also maybe some of their challenges and successes. What are they currently working on right now within the company? Step two is really, really important, which is to step back before you even get there. This will help so much with your confidence. Assess your value. Think about what it is that you bring to the table that is maybe kind of like uniquely you, even if you just started your education journey, right? Even if you have only got a couple of classes under your belt, or maybe you even haven't started yet, take a step back of all the things that you've done up until this point to assess really what your value is, because you have to own that, whatever that is. I love this quote: "A company does not want to be your career experiment," from Madeline Mann. Basically saying that if you really don't know what you want, if you really don't know what you're bringing to the table, they're not there to help you figure that out. They don't want to be a place for you to just kind of come and waffle on that. They would like to know what it is that you feel confident in, that you bring to the table that's uniquely you. So here's a couple of good ways to do it. Conduct a sweet spot audit. Basically, think about all the things that you do throughout the weeks and months. Think about your past history with academics, with work. Where is your in the zone spots? Where do you perform the best? What is it that you're doing? Make a note of that. Keep a track. Is it, when you're communicating with others, when you're mediating between two people? Is your sweet spot when you get to lock in on a particular project and get creative? What is that sweet spot and what does that look like for you? Speak with teachers, supervisors, get feedback. Let other people know what it is that you rock at. And then take a strengths assessment. These are amazing opportunities to kind of get to know really what it is that are your innate talents. Clifton Strengths and High Five are two great assessments that you can take that I highly recommend. So if you just Google those, you can find them. And then take a skills assessment like the one on Career One Stop. They have a slew of different assessments, and they have one specifically for careers. This will help you arm yourself with a little bit of confidence coming in so you can know, okay, these are the things that I feel really, really good about. Even if I'm not 100% sure of what I want to do, this is what I feel very good that I could do. Step three, build your resume. So if you haven't done so already, you got to make sure that you're bringing a great resume and that you are bringing that to the career fair, that you're making it accessible so you can hand out at the ready whenever you need to, whenever you find a good opportunity that you'd like to kind of throw your name into the mix for. So 7 golden rules of building a resume, and I'll give you a quick example here. Every bit of information on the resume, ideally, you'd want to make relevant for your career goal, whatever that happens to be. What I mean by that is just making sure that everything is consistent, because if you're taking information from over here, let's say you've got this background in arts and music, right, from high school, and then you're combining that with things that are maybe more STEM related, right? And then now your goal is to maybe get into sales, right? It's all over the place. It's disjointed. So try to keep it more of a consistent message that says, this is what I'm looking for right now, and this is what I want to do. Make it readable to pass the 7-second scan. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to put your best information first, okay? So put your heaviest hitters, whatever is the most closely aligned to your career goal in terms of your knowledge, skills, and experience or education, that needs to go at the top. So for most students, education is first, right? Whatever it is that you're working on right now. I'm working on a degree in biochemistry. I am working on getting an associate's in mechatronics. Whatever that is currently aligned to your career goal, that really needs to be up front and center so that they can't miss it. Then number 3, don't put in fluffier subjective language. Okay, this drives recruiters crazy. when you put in terms like detail-oriented, results-focused, team player, right? Anybody can say that. Anybody can throw out those terms, but it's relatively meaningless, right? Because unless you can back it up, unless you can provide some objectivity to it, so many people use that stuff and it just falls flat. So don't do that. Number 4, less is more. Try to keep the resume to a page, particularly right now. If you're only 18, 19, or 20, your resume only needs to be a page. There's probably very few instances where it would ever need to be 2 at this stage. So don't, say 14 words when you can use 8, right? So always try to keep things more concise. It makes it easier for the reader. Number 5, use numbers. Numbers really provide context. So you could say the number of people that you worked with, the number of customers that you saw, the amount of sales that you led to. It provides also time distinctions. I accomplished this within 6 months or a year. So numbers really help to provide the context, but also helps to let recruiters know that you can actually lead to results, that you've produced something. Number 6, don't use templates. What I basically mean by that is don't use the first ones that you can find that look super flashy. Particularly don't use the ones on Canva, just because from the recruiter side of things, they're flashy and they're fancy, but they don't often give you the ample space to provide as much value. Also, the software programs that companies use to screen candidates, if you're applying online, they don't read them well at all. They get jumbled up, they get parsed incorrectly. So I would stay away from the flashy templates and stick with a more of a boring Word doc. And then finally, proofread. Always proofread. Make sure that you don't have silly errors, particularly if you're saying that you're detail-oriented. So that actually happens more than you know. So here's an example, so you can feel free to go back and take a peek at this resume. This is just a little template that I kind of threw together that has some of those core ingredients. And again, the individual here that we're using as an example doesn't have a ton of work history. It's not anything super flashy, right? But it provides a lot of detail. It puts the right information first, and it positions everything in a way that's neat. And there's, ample white space. Step 4 is composing your elevator pitch. So this is an old term, but it's still one that gets thrown around a little bit. But basically what we're saying with elevator pitch is if you had to really summarize yourself, professionally speaking, in about 30 seconds, how would you do it? What would you say? So here's an example of what you want to include in your elevator pitch. You want to mention your introduction, your qualifications, your strength, and your goal. So what's your name? What's your knowledge or proficiency, your work experience? What unique strengths or abilities do you bring to the table? And then what is it that you're looking for? So an example of this all put together is, hi, so my name is Brad. I'm currently a freshman at Schoolcraft College, majoring in advanced manufacturing. Since I was in middle school, I've loved working with my hands and being able to take things apart or create new things, whether it was through my robotics club or just tinkering on cars. I'd love to start working with a company like yours to enhance my exposure to the entire production process. Simple, straightforward, not over the top, and that's not even 30 seconds, right? What was that? 10 seconds. So this does not have to be flashy. Again, you want to make this as natural as humanly possible so it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you're reading off a script, and you want to play with the language to suit your liking, given the fact that you're going to be in an environment with a lot of people, they'll be moving around, there'll be a lot of noise. So you want to make this as comfortable as you can for you. So think about your main points at the top there, and then just start kind of crafting it, and then rehearsing. Rehearsing is super helpful so that you get comfortable with knowing how it's flowing, right, out of your own mouth. Step 5 is now we are at the point where we are at the career fair. So now we're integrated into the event itself. Step 5 is all about making a great first impression. I'm sure you've heard this and there's a lot of truth to it, but people form an impression of you within a matter of a couple of seconds, right? So you get basically a minute or less to make a great first impression. And if you don't make a great first impression, it's hard to rebound from that. So that applies in a networking event or a career fair, but it also applies in a job interview. So think about these two things. Think about your presentation in terms of how you're dressing. So you want to dress appropriate to the position that you're applying for. So what I mean by that is if you are seeking roles, working as a craft laborer in a skilled trades, you're not going to wear a suit. That would be out of context. That wouldn't fit. You could still look presentable. You can still dress nice in a business casual at minimum. Something relatively conservative. If you're applying for an accounting position with a major consulting firm, yeah, probably a suit would be more in context. But yeah, no jeans, t-shirts. Try to minimize your accessories, perfumes, colognes, anything like that can distract from the actual message. I think we want to try to be more conservative on. And then the handshake. The handshake is really important. Be sure that you're the one to initiate eye contact during your handshake, firm but not excessive, and about 2 seconds in length. About the time that you're going to say, "Nice to meet you." That's about the length of that. Practice with a friend. This is always a good approach. Make sure that you're practicing with people who know you. So what percentage of communication is nonverbal? Just if you had to guess, what would your guess be? Most people, I think, would probably guess, they would know that it's probably pretty large, right? I think most people would probably assume maybe 50%, right? Maybe about half of communication is nonverbal. And in fact, it is actually 92. 92% is not what we say, it is how we say it. It is what image that we are putting out there for other people to identify or resonate. So all of those different things, from our dress to our posture to our eye contact, all of those things matter when it comes to making those impressions. Then we're in step 6 now, which is building rapport. So I love this particular breakdown. This is just a great way to think about it. Think about the questions that you want to ask the employer that you can help create that sense of rapport or commonality or connection to them. This is going to help make you a little bit more memorable and allow you a little bit more hierarchy in the pecking order. Okay, so when they're kind of going back after the event and they're thinking about all the people that they met, this is something that can really help you stand out. So questions, this is about preparation. So you're coming in with questions such as just asking them, what's your role in the company? What is it that you do? And what do you enjoy about the company or about working there? That's the connection part. That allows people to kind of feel a sense of a closeness, and it allows people to just be people. I think that's what's really cool about it. They don't have to be this big, scary recruiter. They can just be people. Culture. This is where you want to kind of get to know what happens behind the scenes. This is great that you're coming here, but what happens on site? What happens at the company during the day-to-day? So what qualities do you look for in new hires, and what traits do they seem to have? What are the commonalities in the people who do really well there? That gives you a sneak preview of what those qualities that they want you to have. And then the challenge. Challenge are some of the things that will allow you to know what it is that you're walking into. What are some of the challenges that the company is working on, and what problems would you be addressing in that particular role? So in our preparation phase, we talked about assessing your own value. Now it's communicating that value. So it's important for you to be able to now lead with what it is that you put together in the earlier stage, utilizing the employer's message regarding their company, and then packaging up your own message to demonstrate a clear connection between their needs and your own sets of values and skills. So, for example, an employer says, we're really looking to hire people who have versatile programming and web development ability. So, a sample response to this would be, interestingly, through various course projects, I've developed a fairly strong proficiency in Python, XML, and Java, and I'm always seeking out new opportunities to advance the skill set to make me more versatile. So essentially, you're playing tit for tat. They're giving you a little bit of a pitch, and you're jumping off of that to say, hey, I'm exactly what you need. This is what I'm doing that aligns with what it is that you need. And you're not making it up. It's coming directly from that value that you assessed earlier. Then you package it up, you go through, you meet all of these wonderful people, you take business cards. This is another important thing that I didn't put on the presentation, but you want to take contact information, business cards from individuals that you meet throughout the event, maybe take notes on what you discussed. Then a couple of things that you can do that are going to really, really help you stand out is connect with those individuals on LinkedIn. See if you can find them on LinkedIn. If you're not already on LinkedIn, you should be. It's an amazing networking platform. Then utilize the notes that you took to compose a follow-up email. So you have their contact information, you have a phone, you have an email. So compose a well-written email that says, I really appreciated the time that we spent talking about X company the other day. This is what stood out to me. I would love to be considered for a future role or whatever your end goal happens to be. And then you can attach a cover letter and a resume. And then it's also just a chance to fill in any gaps. If you felt like, if you walked away from, and we've all had this, if you walked away from a conversation going, oh, why didn't I say this? Gives you a chance to make up that ground a little bit. Super, super important when you're doing a job interview. So as we wrap up here, and hopefully this was informative for you, I was giving you the real Cliff Notes version. Just a couple of events that are just going to be happening over the course of this month. And this is just a few. This is a sampling. If you hop on Google right now and just says career fairs near me, you'll find a whole lot. But the community colleges like Henry Ford, Schoolcraft, Focus Hope, Washtenaw Community College, they're all hosting events throughout the month of October. All of these are open to the public. These are amazing opportunities to just start meeting people, finding opportunities, and connecting. So it's too good not to take advantage of. If you would like to follow up with me, feel free. Email me at mintonb@risa.net. I hope this was informative. I'm happy to share any of the resources that I talked about today to you personally. And I wish you all the best. Go attack these career fairs and see what good comes from them. Take care, everyone.